Buddy, fuck. Welcome everybody, I'm Killzomzo, and today I'm talking about the time I had to get my appendix removed. Yeah. If none of you guys know what an appendix is, it's basically like a useless organ that everyone has, and basically it's like this little sac, and eventually, some people have an appendix that's like, it's like a time bomb, and if it accumulates enough bacteria, eventually it'll somehow kill you. I think it'll by exploding, so you have to get it removed. So one day, this was December 24th. I don't remember the year. I believe I was in sixth grade, I believe it was like 2011 or 2012. I don't remember the exact year, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. So, point being is that on this day, me, my dad, my sister, and my grandma, who I talked about in me and my versus grandma rant, all went up to Orlando to go to Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios. And so one day, I woke up and I was in an enormous pain in my stomach, and I was like, oh my god, it hurt. It hurt like a motherfucker. And I believe it was on I can't remember if it was on my left or right side. I really can't because it was years ago. It was like 5 years ago. And so I was in enormous pain in my stomach, and it was in my lower stomach, and I was like, "Oh my god, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts." And they're like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I'm fine." It when I stood up, it didn't hurt as much, so I thought maybe it's just like gas or something. And so I took a shower and all that, and I was like walking to the car really slowly. And my dad started to question if something was wrong. He's like, "You okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe it's just gas. Don't worry." And so we went to eat breakfast, and the breakfast made me feel a little better. And then we went to the park, and I was in enormous pain. The problem was is that I didn't want to ruin the day for these guys because like we came for basically a Christmas vacation, and I wasn't about to ruin it because of some stupid pain I had in my stomach. So the day went on as usual, and we were going on rides and all of that, and the rides were fucking me up a little bit. And so I was walking it like an old man, and sometimes I even put my hand on my dad's shoulder, and I was like, okay, just walk slow. And he was asking, like, do I need medical attention or something? And I was like, no, 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 I don't need anything. And then eventually, when we got out of Islands of Adventure, we were heading to Universal because they're both two different parks. They're just really, they're like neighbors. So we went to Universal. My dad stepped by the clinic that they have there, and they gave us some Pepto Bismol. It helped out for a little bit. It helped out for a little bit. None of us knew what the pain was, and it helped out for a little bit. Eventually, we rode more rides, and then at the end of the day, we were eating dinner. And we were eating the dinner at this like diner type thing at Universal. And my dad's like, "How do you feel about the pain?" I'm like, "You know what? I feel really good. I feel really good. After a whole day of me walking like an old man, I finally felt good." And so I tried to stand up, and I couldn't stand up. I actually fell on the table. And I was like in so much pain, and my dad's like, "We can't do this. You need to get help." And I'm like, "No, no, no, I'm fine." And I couldn't move. I really couldn't move. So my dad had to pick me up and put me over his shoulders, and I was in enormous pain as he was carrying me. And eventually we got to the garage, the car garage. We found a wheelchair, and we put me in a wheelchair. A security guard came around and said, "What are you doing with the wheelchair?" And we were like, "Look, he's in enormous pain. He can't even walk. We're just taking him to the car, and then you can get the wheelchair." So we took me to the car, and we took me to the hospital. It was a little bit of time before they decided to pick us up and be like, "Go." And so after a bit, they finally took us in and they said, "Look, there's his appendix. If you would have waited, his appendix is abrupted or something like that. And if you would have waited any longer, it would have burst and he would have died. So you're lucky you got him in time as you did." And so me and my dad went into the ambulance, and I drove at top speed to get to the other hospital across town because they were transferring me to a kids hospital. And as they got me there, they were sedating me, and I didn't know they were sedating me. So I was like talking to my dad, and next minute I was out, and I felt like I only blinked, and when I woke up, I was like all like high a little bit from the drugs, and I'm like, when are they gonna start it? And everyone was laughing because they already did it. And so when I went back to school shortly after, because this kind of fucked up my Christmas, because this happened on Christmas Eve, and I was stuck in the hospital on Christmas Day. So while I was in Christmas Day, I was forced to basically like move around the hospital to basically get my bearings. And even after all that, I really couldn't walk. I really had to go home in a wheelchair. I didn't take the wheelchair home, but I had to be taken away in a wheelchair because it was too much pain. And so when I went back to school, I had a story to tell when they asked what you did for Christmas break. And everyone was asking me the same question. If you're feeling like that kind of pain, why would you keep going? And I'm like, I didn't want to ruin the day for them. So, yeah. The kind of dedication I have, I probably would have died just because I wanted them to have fun. Hey, I mean, that's a good last day to have with someone. You have so much fun, and yeah, really good. So if that, guys, bring this wonderful video to a close, don't forget to like this video if you did. Don't forget to share this wonderful video with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to Unlockable Stories for also more vlog type shit like this. And yeah, with that, guys, bring this wonderful video to a close. I'm KillZomZone, and I am out for now. Peace.